And for today's video, I'm in the shower. Sort of my meditation spot. Dad starts radiation tomorrow for his cancer. And so today we went shopping to get, what we need for the week. And a couple weeks he starts chemo. And we're pushing the shopping cart through Walmart, and he's getting some of the things that he likes to buy. And towards the end, he needed to, find something. And he went down one aisle towards the pharmacy, and then towards hair care products, and then towards the Band-Aid section. And he stopped, and he's like, I can't remember where I'm at. I can't remember the aisle. I can't even remember the name of what I'm looking for, but it's, the underwear you wear at night in case I need to go to the bathroom. And I said, oh, it depends. I know exactly where those are. He goes, yeah, but I don't want those ones. I want, the good ones. I've seen the guy in the picture. And so we went over to that department and got a box and put it in the cart. And reality sucks. There's this big, strong Italian guy, and now he's got cancer in his lung, and it left his lung, and it's in his shoulder. It's eating his shoulder away. There's no cure for this. Like, reality sucks. Like, my dad just went from building a fence and a farm and working 5 days a week, and now we're buying Depends and starting radiation just like that. Like, wow, life just changed. And so now I'm sitting in the shower having a moment because all of a sudden, my hero, this amazing man, is deteriorating fast. And I've got to be in the process of accepting it and seeing, like, this is reality whether I want to believe it or not. He's always been independent and self-sufficient, never needed anyone's help, never really been sick. I can't even remember when my dad had a cold. And now he's dying. And now he's worried about going to the bathroom in his pants. And so I just noticed how horrible and sad I felt. Like, I just had a reality check. And I noticed pictures from Christmas 4 months ago, and I could start to see the change in his body. He lost 30, 40 pounds. And a year ago, when we bought this place, he was not the same guy. It's like when you're so close to somebody, you don't always see them as they are. You see them as they've always been. And so it's like, yeah, Dad's deteriorating. Dad is in the process now of dying. It's real. And I get to honor where I'm at as well. And I get to look at, wow, dying's really vulnerable. I think that was maybe the 5th time in my life when my dad has asked me for a favor or help. One of them was when Mom was dying and he couldn't take care of her. One of them was when he needed help buying a home to retire in for a legacy. One was helping him get to radiation, and now buying Depends, buying underwear, so he doesn't wet his own bed. And so here it is. I have to be with this and accept that I have no power to change this. I could take him to radiation, I could take him to chemo, I could manage his estate, I'm power of attorney, I can do all that for him. But I can't change the outcome for him. As much as I want to call all the best doctors in the world, fly him to Costa Rica, do all those things that I know will help, that's not what he wants. And it would only help for a little while, for the most part. I'm just buying time. But without vulnerability, without intimacy, we're always going to wish we had more time. But it's not the time that we need. It's the insane courage to accept this moment. It's the insane courage to love somebody when they're in the process of dying. Like, that was a huge moment for my dad to risk being rejected or humiliated or laughed at because he couldn't find the Depends that he's bought before. I didn't know it when I opened his drawers, there were Depends there. So for him to not be able to navigate his own life and remember where something was, and for him to have to ask, and then to risk somebody saying something or noticing at the checkout aisle, like all those things on top of I'm dying, is really scary. And so I get to be scared too, and it's okay. It's okay that I broke down in the car on the way home. I said, I'll support you, and this is a scary, vulnerable time, but we're in this together. And he doesn't like pain or seeing anyone else cry, but when people don't like seeing other people cry or in pain for them, it sends a silent message that this person loves and cares about me. So even though they don't like it, and they may get upset or tell you to stop, there's a part of them that gets how compassion you are, how compassion matters. And so it's not good, bad, right, or wrong if you have those moments. I choose to do more of them away from him because he's just not used to it, and I'm not used to doing it in front of him. And he needs to know that this is just part of my process. It's not that I'm incapable or I'm losing my shit or I'm going crazy. It's just, for me to be able to do this means I can now be more present to him. Having a breakdown and staying in it means that now you can really show up. But if you avoid the breakdown, it's like carrying bricks. You keep throwing bricks in your backpack while trying to be there for somebody else. Actually robs you from being there for somebody else. So I knew this was going to be hard, and I have to keep setting down every brick that comes up and not carrying it with me, because I've got a lot on my plate. And carrying the emotional bricks is going to break me and hurt me, which isn't going to support me or my dad. So know that when you first find out, regardless of how you find out, that's reality. How we see people throughout our life changes. But we find out that sometimes we haven't actually changed. We always want to see our little babies as little babies because that's when we felt the most love with them, and we want to hold on to that. But, it's right there in my face. And for the past 4 months, I've seen his body deteriorate. Now it's like, wow. And now it's his memory. And now it's his lungs. And more things are going to start showing up as well, because that's the process of dying. And if you've never really been in that before with someone close to you, there's an unknown to it, but the body knows exactly what it's doing. He doesn't need to remember everything right now. He doesn't need to have the answer to everything right now. He doesn't need to run his life the way he used to. Right now, he just needs to focus his resources and his energy on what he committed to, which is chemo and radiation and eating better and staying positive and trying to stay active. He doesn't need to manage everything else, because that's not what his life is about right now. He gets to just focus on himself, and I get to support that. So, reality sucks when you resist it. And when you pretend that's going to be okay. Or you pretend it's just, he just forgot. It's not a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal or a small deal. It's just noticing that my dad doesn't forget, and there's shame, and he's at a point in his life where, yeah, the reality is we're in the circle of life when we start out with diapers, and oftentimes we end up in diapers before our life is over. And thank God for Depends, because now I don't have to clean all that stuff up. And he doesn't have to go through the humiliation of calling me in and saying, I wet the floor. So it was an awesome moment for father and son to watch my dad just, like James Bond, play off the Depends. Yeah, I'll take that one. That guy looks good. Put it in. Maybe I'll have abs like him when this is over. And so I liked seeing that. Yeah, my dad's a badass, even with his Depends. So reality is what you make it. But just notice how you go about it. Are you accepting it? Do you pretend? Do you act? Do you ignore? Because all those things are going to rob you from being present to this process. And there's no better way to really surrender and be present than in a crisis, a tragedy, something that's traumatic. And even if your father's, passed, no better time to be present to you than right now.